I have been facing unprecedented backlash from my supporters since I declared the Epstein list is not actually real. It was never actually real. Of course I was never on it. Of course my constituents weren't on it. It was just a big liberal hoax, guys. Just kidding. I haven't faced any backlash, unprecedented or not. Donald Trump's administration has faced unprecedented backlash from his own supporters after the Justice Department concluded the Epstein client list does not exist, which has contradicted months of campaign promises and early administration claims. You know we like to get into some conspiracies on this channel, so that's exactly what we're going to be diving into, guys. We're going to be talking about this. It's really fun to talk about the government and to be able to have a literal, direct, in the societal zeitgeist example of why they're all bad people. They're all bad. Every single one of them is bad and rotten. And then they pretend to be good, and then they show that they're bad, and then they vote on things, and then they make a bunch of money, and they manipulate the stock market. And there's insider trading, and Nancy Pelosi's husband is a good guy, and so on and so forth. This controversy has created the first really significant rift between Trump and his MAGA base, with conservative influencers, media personalities, and rank-and-file supporters expressing great anger and outrage over what they see as a betrayal on a core issue of justice and accountability. This is so bipartisan and absolutely something that everybody can get behind. Also, like the idea that tyranny is bad, taxes should be lower, help, befriend your neighbors, be nice to the people around you, don't take money from foreign lobby groups, etc. But everything erupted when, in the first week of July, the Justice Department and the FBI released a 2-page memo declaring their exhaustive review found no evidence of an Epstein client list, no blackmail operation, and confirming Jeffrey Epstein died by S-word in prison. Which, I'm gonna be real with you guys, I don't believe a single, not a single letter of it. Every fiber of my being is like, because if it came out, there would be a revolt. Is why that's why the DOJ has decided that if it were to exist, it would be a really big problem. But conveniently, since it's the DOJ, it no longer exists, it seems like. I don't know what you guys think. Comment down below. Charlie Kirk seems to think that it's totally not real. The DOJ outlined that they conducted both digital and physical searches and found over 300 gigabytes, not terabytes, of data and physical evidence, which includes over 10,000 images and videos of CSAM, which is an absolute travesty. And in the paragraph where they mention that there was no evidence that Epstein had blackmailed any people in power, they also say that there's no evidence that will lead to investigating any uncharged third parties. So it's pure insanity, to be honest, and it goes against everything that these people have been campaigning on. I'm gonna refer to them as people because I think that's what they are. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure whose side they're on, but it's pure insanity. It goes against everything that they've been telling us for years and leaves many people with broken promises regardless of which side of the political aisle that you're on. This is something that everybody can get behind and be very angry and upset about because it's completely unacceptable, total bullshit. Back in February, Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed that such a list was sitting on my desk. That is a quote from that dumb bitch. No offense to her, but she's a dumb bitch.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
And then right after that, they released those press photos of influencers holding all the Epstein information. Dude, we need to make a list of all these people. They need to be on a list, okay? By the way, that answer she gave, that actual quote from Pam Bondi, was a direct response to an inquiry about the Epstein client list. It was sitting on her desk. Now, it doesn't exist. It's gone. It never did exist. It's a liberal hoax, guys. It's a libtard hoax. That's what it is. I knew it from the beginning. It's a hoax. The little green men in their ships with their hands, where are their hands? It's like the Russians. It's all lies. None of it's real. So none of it's real. Never did it. There's nobody bad in the government at all. That they've never done anything bad. You can trust them, all right? They don't manipulate the stock market. They're not in a club that we're not in. The class system is real. What else? Your vote doesn't count. Boycotting Coke will make big change. Hey, man, I got a couple ideas for some big change, but no. So yeah, the list never existed, and there is going to be no third-party investigation. Hey, big win for us American people. It seems like yet another win for the American people. We just can't stop winning. So the people, those people, not the people, they want us to believe that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were solely responsible for everything. Absolutely, man. I knew a couple pimps growing up, and even the most disorganized pimp had a binder from Staples or something. By the way, in the memo, Ghislaine is never even mentioned, just Jeffrey Epstein. But she was charged to 20 years in prison in relation to S crimes with minors in connection with Epstein. So there's absolutely something going on behind the stories that have changed, man. You guys get a load of this. We have everything in this video, or most everything. I'm sure we left some stuff out, but this is like the worst, most angry I've ever been at my own government. Aside from all the the endless forever wars, the genocides, the military-industrial complex, the murdering of the last good president sitting. I don't know, dude. It's is like, oh, you guys are actually 110% all massive pieces of shit, and you don't give a. You're all a part of an intelligence apparatus, and you don't actually have any autonomy and sovereignty. The voters, you don't represent the voters. You represent powerful people in intelligence communities around the world. According to the memo, Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims, but no other names are mentioned throughout the memo. It's like they want us to believe that just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, I know her name is pronounced differently, but I like to say it in a disrespectful way. The official story seems to be that now they single-handedly lured over 1,000 vulnerable people, and if they were I guess they weren't trafficked, or if they were trafficked, who trafficked them? Is it just Jeffy and Jizzy, or like are there other people involved? No? Oh, okay. In September of 2024, while Trump was interviewed by Lex Friedman, he said a lot of powerful people went to Epstein's island.
He had some nice assets that he'd throw around, like islands, but a lot of big people went to that island, but fortunately, I was not one of them.
Lex commented on how it's weird a client list never became public, and Trump said he'd have no problem with it being made public. That is him on the record saying that.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way.
So if you're able to, you'll be...
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it.
This wasn't a one-off statement, by the way. He said he would declassify the Epstein files himself on Fox News.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Both of these were not just one-off statements. These were campaign promises. He is a politician who is supposed to represent the American people. His own campaign's official War Room account tweeted the statement to Fox that he'd declassify all Epstein-related documents. And now all of these bootlickers and freaks and weirdos have come out in droves, like taxidermied rats, and emerging from the darkness to the Pied Piper, which is, I guess, Trump. I really don't know. By the way, this isn't even a political video. That's what's crazy about this. This is not political. This is a bipartisan issue. Nobody likes pedophiles. They should not exist. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. The logic is pretty simple. Now, it seems like there is an entire party that is pro-pedophile. Seems like. At least the elected officials, which is weird. Anyways, a lot of promises are being made, and it's a powerful thing too. You people want to see, regular everyday people want to see justice. They want to see good things happen. They want to see good things happen. When you make a promise like this in your campaign, it plays a pivotal role for many people. A lot of people don't give a about politics. They think it's all nonsense. Most people, the silent majority. But if it comes to something like Epstein, that's something everybody can get behind. The backlash has been unprecedented. It has been so severe that Trump got ratioed on his own Truth Social platform for the first time ever, receiving more replies than supportive likes when he told supporters to stop talking about Epstein and defended Pam Bondi's handling of the case. Stop talking about Epstein. I am orange. I'm on the list. Do you want me to go down? Yes! Yeah! Yeah! Of course. You know who's not on the list? Me. And everybody else in the world, seems like. Except for politicians and Masters of the Universe. Burn, I guess. I don't know. Call me fucking woke, dude. I don't know. You know who else is pretty fucking woke? Jesus. Have you read the Bible? The Truth Social Post. It is legendary, though. This is, I mean, it's unhinged. It's on another level. It's just unbelievable. You can tell he's the little man. His world is not going well. It's not going well for him right now. He's upset that conservatives are angry at him for his gross mishandling of these Epstein-related crimes and documents, and he tries to rally the troops by saying, "We're one team, MAGA." Which is just, I mean, come on, dude. I'm all for, I'm all for getting behind your political party and all that stuff and having a good old time rooting at that down at the old NASCAR race. They turn left a lot. I love that shit. That's so awesome. Playing the old Patriot game, I love that, man. We're one team. But this is just sad. Look at this tweet, or truth. This fucking truth he truthed, or whatever. Ironic. Every aspect of it is ironic. Every character is ironic. It is just layers and layers and layers of irony. And you know, for a long time throughout human history, there's something people could do about this. Something they could do about it. But man, all we can do now is just make YouTube videos. Just screaming and screaming. I'm so mad. Oh. You know, it is unfortunate, but it's also epic and kind of funny. It makes me laugh whenever I think about it, which is what I just don't think about it. So he says all the MAGAs are on one team. Everybody who's voted for him should ignore their feelings about the development and fall back in line like the good little soldiers they are. Rank and file, fall back in line. You serve me, I'm your king. Hey, bud, you ain't the big man upstairs, all right? You are a big man, but you're orange and you're weird and you won't be around for much longer because you're old and evil. All right, and old evil people don't live that long. Somehow he got people even more angry. After he said that, I guess he saw the tweets and he saw that he got ratioed. We need to break this truth down a little bit for you guys. Check this out. Read it if you want. I'm gonna go over it. We are giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration. They created the Epstein files. Biden and these radical left lunatics released the Epstein files. If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Even the brief snippet from the text wall leaves a lot to unpack. The backlash was because they were claiming what people were looking for didn't exist, but now Trump is saying that Obama, Biden, and Clinton created the Epstein list. It's a liberal hoax, apparently. So does it exist or does it not exist? Did they create it? Because if it doesn't exist, and there's no evidence of it existing, the idea of creation involves something existing. I think, I'm not totally sure. I pink the Holy Relic. Let's ask the Holy Relic. What do you think, Holy Relic? Do you think that this is bullshit? Does this make you really angry? He's not saying anything. He's just mad. All right, he's green with anger. All right, not even envy. He's green with anger. Frankie! Yeah, get angry! That's what I heard her barking in her kennel, and I went in there and I was like, Frankie, what's wrong? What's wrong? And she said, I'm on Truth Social. You should have seen what Trump just truthed. Frankie's extremely MAGA. Recently, I had yellow poop. I'm talking like a banana. Obviously, I panicked. I started Googling symptoms. I ended up on TikTok, confused, upset with yellow poop in the toilet. Maybe it was a tropical parasite. Maybe it was just because I was on the road for 16 hours and ate nothing but Bojangles and sunflower seeds. That is when I remembered ZocDoc exists. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search for high quality in-network doctors and book appointments immediately. There's over 100,000 providers available across every specialty, from primary care to dermatology to mental health to your gastro yellow poop thing to dental help. You can filter by insurance, see who's highly rated, and even book same-day appointments. I found myself a GI specialist. Turns out I'm totally fine, guys, and I'm back to normal, so. Visit zocdoc.com/Oompaville. It's zocdoc.com/Oompaville today. That's zocdoc.com/Oompaville. Click the link in the description. Thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video, and thank you to you guys for supporting. So they are there, they're not. It seems like they're there, but you shouldn't trust them because the other guys made up the list. Everything is partisan. Everything is partisan. Every single thing that exists that's important is either liberal or Democrat. There is no middle ground. There is nothing. None of that exists. It's not real. It's a fugazi or whatever people say, whatever cool, smart people say. Also, if they did make it and it's fraudulent, like he's implying here is the justification why it shouldn't be trusted because it was fraudulently made by Hillary Clinton and Comey and Obama and all that stuff. Obama, got to. Why wouldn't they have put something in there that would have harmed his campaign and then just released it? If it was a hoax, why are you implying it's a hoax? And then, why are you saying it's a liberal hoax and then saying if there was something bad about me, they would have released it? But then why is it a hoax? What does that make? None of this makes sense. There's a contradiction at every single turn. You cannot say in your memo that combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims is a top priority and use the deportation of CPs as a tagline on the White House social media page, then sweep the entire case surrounding the biggest network of individuals committing these crimes against children under the rug actively under your administration. That's what's happening right now. If you really want to simplify it, it is the most ironic twist, M. Night Shyamalan type thing I've ever seen in my life. And that's also right on the heels of being at war with Iran. Dude, you're gonna make me lose it. You're gonna make me go crazy and make crazy sounds. It's also a blatant lie to say that nobody cares about Epstein. You don't care about Epstein because you're on the list. Anybody who doesn't care about Epstein is on the list. A lot of people care. They care that everyone involved with this evil act goes down for it. Bad stuff happened, absolutely. A lot of people were involved. Let's get rid of them. Not just that there's a fucking flight list for sure, and a lot of people were on it, like RFK and fucking. I didn't actually. I rode the plane. I hung off the wheels at the bottom. I hung from the bottom of the Lolita. Was it weird? Me and my wife Cheryl. Stop it. Frankie does not want America to be healthy again. Jesus Christ. Jeffrey Epstein is the most notorious perpetrator of crimes against children in the modern era in America, and people want to know that nobody is going to get away cleanly. Nobody wants to hide, not a single human wants to hide this, unless they're involved, of course. Right? Isn't that how that works? What the Sun Tzu wrote about that shit in that book he wrote, The Art of War, or whatever the Stephen Pressfield wrote a book called The War of Art. Excellent. I've been directly using the moral of that book to run my life for the last 15 years. No bullshit. They have more they could release. They're just choosing to not look at it for some reason, it seems like, the people on the Capitol Hill. And we know this because we have to look no further than the February release of the Epstein files. On February 27, 2025, Pam Bondi hosted conservative influencers at the White House, where they made a big show of handing out white binders labeled Epstein Files Phase 1. The attendees included prominent social media figures like Liz Wheeler, Jack, whatever the his name is, Libs of TikTok, Chaya, and Mike Cernovich. And these are influencers representing millions of combined followers across all platforms. So phase 1, that's phase 1. We have proof of that. That's the White House. That's their official thing that they did. What happened to phase 2? What about phase 3? Is this phase 2? It's kind of weird. Kind of a weird phase 2. It seems like you should have put more thought into it. Phase 1 was a massive PR disaster. The binders contained mostly already public documents and heavily redacted address books and flight logs that have been available since the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, and victim interview transcripts that were previously used in courts. There was nothing new in phase 1 at all. Some black lines were removed. Okay, all right, dude. So the first time they tried to do this, their big show of an Epstein files release didn't even reveal a single new thing. And now it just seems like it was intended to placate those demanding promises to be kept, but people are obviously not stupid. As stupid as you want them to be, you gave them an infinite access to information, so probably should keep that in mind nowadays. Project Mockingbird is kind of irrelevant. But back in February, people weren't that dumb, and they certainly aren't dumb now. It seems like a lot of people have kind of understood what exactly is going on and what has been happening since the beginning since the failed business plot. Let's be real, guys. Let's be real. We can tie it back to a time, and it is the Industrial Revolution, the precipice of the Industrial Revolution into World War II. The military-industrial complex, the creation of intelligence apparati, which do keep America safe, for sure. But, okay? If we circle back to the DOJ and FBI memo and how they assured everyone that Jeffy did not hurt himself, and that there was no one else involved because cameras would have captured anyone going in or out of the capsule, the time capsule, and he was in. They also lied to us about that. They shared 2 links to video files showing footage that would show if anyone went in or out. They called it the full, raw, and enhanced video, like CSI Miami or some shit. Enhanced. Now, as a content creator who deals with video, I would never call this video that I'm about to show you raw. Typically, raw implies that it is unaltered and it is unprocessed. Raw, dude. Are you kidding me? This is not raw. This is a well-done steak. It is edited clearly, and they left a time code on it that shows that. You're dumb. You're stupid. There's a minute missing from the footage right at midnight, guys. This falls between the time he was locked in his cell at 10:40 p.m. and when he was found the next morning. A massive inconsistency in the statement made by the DOJ and the FBI. By the way, the DOJ and the FBI are supposed to be the single source of truth and justice in the United States of America, right? Supreme Court's the only thing really above that. There's a full minute missing, and it's full raw and enhanced. You are so dumb. You are all so dumb. Pam Bondi responded to an inquiry about the missing minute, stating that a minute is missing every night because the system resets, which is attributed to the security system being outdated.
And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night.
Also, she lets it slip that the video isn't conclusive of proving S-word, even though prior evidence was.
The video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide.
I don't know, maybe if someone knew the system was outdated and knew how to exploit it, you know, by just acknowledging the fact that it just automatically deletes an entire bit of footage. There's a window of opportunity built in. There's no footage being recorded. Could it have been taken advantage of? Is that possible? Is it possible? You don't have any video evidence of it, there's a minute missing and no, like, what are you talking about? Did Hillary go in there with her jumpsuit on? And her, I don't know, Stargate outfit or whatever? Go in there. So on top of that, turns out this raw footage isn't so raw. It has been discovered by video forensics experts that this isn't a direct export of the prison system surveillance system, and the video we see has actually been modified or plugged into an editing software such as Adobe Premiere Pro. You can find this out because of metadata. You can't just make shit up and fake shit and then just be like, well, what if we cut the part out where he's killed and then we upload it? Yeah, hey, good idea. Let's edit it in Adobe Premiere Pro. You do know anything you upload into Adobe Premiere Pro, they own forever, into perpetuity, right? So, what does that mean? Does it mean the video was tampered with to hide something, or was the software simply used to splice clips together? Personally, I would have used CapCut. We certainly know that it was edited in some way, and there is no confirmation. They will not give confirmation, so we can just speculate. I think it's safe to speculate, given the fact that they are absolute, total, demonstrable liars and pieces of shit. Demonstrably false information that they're giving out on a consistent daily basis. So, you know, I'm getting fed up with it. Can they salvage this? Is it even possible to salvage the situation? This is the biggest PR mess up I think I've ever seen in my adult life. If they release footage directly from the surveillance system, I feel like nobody would even trust it. They just think it's AI or fake. They fumbled already. If they release footage from every other night showing a minute is missing, maybe that would be more likely. But I'm not totally sure. Knowing the landscape of conspiracy, people will likely just suggest that they've cut a minute out every night to compensate. For being the biggest intelligence apparatus, the most powerful people in the world, you'd think that they would think about this type of stuff. How are people going to respond? Doesn't every single politician have like a PR guy and an ethics guy and an advisor and all these different advisors? No one stopped to think about, hey, if we release this, it's gonna look like we're hiding it because there's a minute cut out. Like maybe we should have a caveat, and then we should, in the sake of transparency, put a Google Drive link with the full unedited, actual direct from the surveillance system footage up there. Like there's plenty of ways to do this. I'm an idiot, and I've just proposed a way that is more trustworthy than these people that I'm paying my money to, and my wife, we're paying our money to them. Isn't that crazy that we pay these people? And all we can do is just get mad about it. Oh, I'm so angry about it. But you know what? Tomorrow I'll just forget. Also, Trump has tried so hard at this point to deflect attention from Epstein in the final memo by redirecting anything and everything unrelated to it. He brings up the Texas floods, saying that we should be paying attention to that instead.
So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the staff?
Yeah, sure. If I
Pam, could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
He mentioned securing the border, the economy, energy, Iran, voter fraud, the 2020 election, the 2024 election, among other things, all in his crash out on Truth Social we mentioned earlier. It's sad. It's very gross. And I'm not feeling particularly generous in taking things at face value when they're said anymore. Not that I ever did that. I literally have made conspiracy videos for years, and I have never trusted the American government. Ever. Not ever, dude. Not even a single time. We've been getting lied to so much for such a long time to make people rich. How? Oh, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, dude. Why do people care about anything but that? What if we all just cared about that instead of other stuff like identity and I don't know, dude. Plastic straws and shit. All are totally valid to care about. But like there's some really big glaring things that are just right there. And he keeps doubling down, by the way. He posted another crash out rant the morning of Wednesday the 16th today. All right, the day that this is being recorded. He called Epstein the latest Democrat hoax, one that MAGA are falling for, hook, line, and sinker. Moaning, literally moaning, probably when he's wiping his butt, and also in this truth about how Republicans, unlike Democrats, don't stick together. Dude, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? We stick together over defending pedophiles? What is the hoax? The DOJ and FBI stated that there were over 1,000 victims and over 10,000 pieces of CSAM recovered, okay? Huh? Just say sorry, let it go? Let it go? 1,000 is just Ghislaine Maxwell and just Jeffrey Epstein? There's nobody else is involved? Because like, I'd be willing to let it go if like 500 people went to prison forever. Nobody wants to let that go. That's not a hoax, dude. That is like the most important thing that has existed in quite a while that we should all be paying attention to. Then after the whole fiasco, Ghislaine Maxwell has allegedly stated that she's willing to testify before Congress about Epstein's activities and could provide greater insight into the dealings of Epstein that the Epstein files failed to reflect in the client list. It's somewhat convenient and probably, I would say, even strategic timing on her part, which coincides with her Supreme Court appeal and the DOJ/FBI's now controversial memo. She's trying to make herself look good. She's got a PR person, it seems like. But we have to take it with a grain of salt as the source is anonymous, which probably means it's not real, and spoke to the Daily Mail. The source spoke to the Daily Mail, which the Daily Mail, completely full of shit, to be honest. So the report has not been verified. The alleged willingness to cooperate appears to be more about generating pressure for her appeal than genuine new cooperation. But obviously it's added fuel to the conspiracy theories about what information is being withheld and what they're lying about. It looks bad. It's very convenient. There are even reports that Congress is trying to prevent Maxwell from disclosing what she knows and has never offered her a plea deal or even asked what she knows, but that is also speculative, once again coming from an anonymous source. Now, what's gaining a lot more attention is that in a vote, the House GOP supposedly voted to block Democrats' attempts to release any Epstein files. At least that's what headlines are saying. And you look deeper and there's definitely some like to and fro with it for sure. But it seems like generally speaking, the House GOP has come out against releasing the Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene, probably the smartest human being who's ever existed, commented on this, saying that's not what happened, and that it was a vote to prevent Democrats from controlling the House floor, which I'm not an expert in government procedure, but it doesn't seem like it's as cut and dry as Marjorie Taylor Greene, the most trusted source of information in the entire government, is painting it to be. So yeah, the conspiracy deepens. All right, my friends, why is all this getting swept away now? The memo has stirred up distrust in the system and its two-tiered nature, protecting those in power while preying on the weak. Victims themselves have come forward saying that there were many other people involved, or at the very least, they were apprehended by Epstein's cronies when trying to escape the island. So there were plenty of people involved in this. Obviously, it's a massive sex trafficking ring. The DOJ and FBI seem to be wiping their hands clean of anything about Jeffrey Epstein, and they will not release any more documentation. They aren't pursuing any charges against any third parties. It is a total and complete slap in the face to anyone who believed anything that Trump or any of these conservative influencers have said and stood on. It's like over the last year, the Republican Party, especially on the internet, cool kind of MAGA, I'm an influencer. It's like, we hate pedophiles. We want to kill them. And it's like, oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe Frankie is a MAGA. It's kind of been one of the cornerstones, to be real with you guys. It's kind of been one of the like main sort of things that these guys have been running on. Kind of been one of the main sort of things. It looks bad now. It looks really, really, really bad. It's like extremely bad. How could Jizzy Maxwell be serving a 20-year sentence for child trafficking if there are no clients? 1,000 victims and over 10,000 pieces of CSAM are mentioned in the memo. Who's producing the content? Who's purchasing it? Who's sourcing this insane amount of people? Where do they go? What happens to them? I made a joke earlier about pimps having day planners. I refuse to believe a financier isn't documenting everything. I refuse to believe it. It's all horseshit. Anything that comes out, in my opinion, from now on in regard to the Epstein client list or Epstein or anything like this in general, the opposite is most likely true. The opposite is going to be what is true. Yeah, there is not a single honest person in the American government. I don't believe so, at least. Or if there is, then maybe they just throw the baby out with the bathwater at this point. I don't give a fuck. And I can think of probably 7,000 things to stop spending money on and stop sending money to, and just focus on getting rid of these people and arresting them and preventing this from being a thing and harming children. In all honesty. But maybe I'm just an idiot though. I don't know. I'm not very business minded. I don't really know a lot about big business. Big swag business. There is simply no way to wrap the human mind around the idea that no one else is involved, but the DOJ and FBI are insistent upon not pursuing anyone else in the same statement that they claim to be fighting for victims. If anything, I would say this is a massive disservice to victims that is being masked as justice being served with nothing else to be done. It's confusing. You know what's even more confusing? There's an instance of someone who has been very critical of Trump over the years and would never agree with him over anything. Stephen King, psychopath, freak weirdo, absolutely strange guy, prolific writer, brilliant mind. I have a signed copy of It from 1986. Anyways, I was not born in 1986. My mom, her sister lived in Maine, and Stephen King was like across the street from them. But anyways, Stephen King has fallen into lockstep with Donald Trump to echo the idea that the Epstein client list is a fantasy. Stephen King? You mean sexual pervert? Have you guys ever read It? Have you guys ever read It? You ever read the book? Movie's pretty good. I like the movie. The book's got some weird shit in it. Are you telling me that Stephen King said that it doesn't exist too? You mean it does exist? That means it does exist. Okay. Stephen Epstein tweeted, "The Epstein client list is real. And then right after that said, so is the Tooth Fairy in Santa Claus. Wow, that's some witty writing there. This tweet raised quite a few questions, with people asking if he's saying this because he's on it and trying to convince people that it's not real. It's very suspicious to say that, especially when you take into consideration, once again, the scene of it, where a group of 11-year-olds, I don't even want to talk about it. Anyways, while the DOJ and FBI may be technically correct that no formal client list that literally lists out every single fucking rich and famous person's name in the form of a little black book documenting transactions and crimes, maybe that doesn't exist, but it is a narrow conclusion that entirely misses a broader point that has incited public concern. People don't give a about a little black book, a literal file. We just want to see who the bad guys are. We want to know who the bad guys are so we can revolt. I'm just kidding. No. I'm just kidding. I wish there was a list, though, of just bad people. I feel like you can kind of guess now, though, after all this stuff. You can just kind of guess who the bad people are. I'd say the question isn't whether or not Epstein's network existed, but rather why the government appears to be so eager to close the case without seeming willingness to pursue accountability for any of those who may have participated in or even just enabled these crimes. That's the bigger question now, unfortunately, for these people. The DOJ's declaration that they won't pursue charges against third parties or investigate further, it just shuts the door on justice and victims and answers for the public. It is an approach that is particularly damaging when Trump is simultaneously trying to reframe the narrative and manipulate people en masse, claiming nobody cares about Epstein and urging his supporters to focus elsewhere, even though everybody cares about Epstein. This response fundamentally misunderstands what drives public interest in the case of Epstein. It's not prurient curiosity. It is a genuine desire to see child abusers and traffickers face consequences. That is it. Literally, it's that simple. The government's handling of this Epstein controversy has been a masterclass in eroding public trust at a time already when institutional confidence is at an all-time low. Fragile, I guess you could say, but just in case you don't understand, by abruptly closing investigations, dismissing public concerns, and treating people who care about transparency in regard to pedos and rich people, treating them as conspiracy theorists, officials have reinforced the very suspicions that they claim to address. They are part of the problem now. That being said, I am fairly hopeful. Seeing everybody's reaction, I saw a CNN poll today that said 3% of people are happy with the way that Trump handled this, which is such a big L. 3%? That's not that many people. That's like not that many people. And the 3% probably is a margin of error, in all honesty. There is a developing bipartisan bill calling for complete transparency in everything having to do with Epstein and any clients, obviously not victims, but clients, to have everything made public with no redactions to protect people from embarrassment, reputational harm, political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. They should all burn and rot. Will it go through? I have no idea, guys, but that, if it does, is a step in the right direction. Till then, who the fuck knows? Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, press the like button. Go to the Gump Club to watch uncensored videos. They're just longer. They're not really uncensored. There's behind the scenes content, bunch of fun shit. Got a podcast with Brandon that's launching pretty soon. Sour.gg, Candy. You know how it is. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Do not trust politicians.